Hello, everybody. My name is Drummer Shy. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. We got an amazing guest with us. He is a world-renowned drummer, Berklee College musician. He's amazing, and he's also a part of the Living Tombstone band. And you probably heard him from all the drumming parts in the Zeroone album. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Maxime Cholley. Did I name it right?
Yeah, that was actually really good.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Good job. It's a hard one too, so that's
Yeah.
good. That's good.
So, thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate you coming in for this interview. It's definitely amazing that we're talking right now during a release of an album that's still everybody's talking about it. So,
No, my pleasure, man. My pleasure. It's my pleasure to be here.
all right. So we'll start with our first question in the pre-written questions. How long have you been a drummer for?
So, I mean, being a drummer means a lot of things. I started drums when I was 6 years old. So, I guess it's been about 19 years now, which is kind of crazy now that I think of it. But to say I have been a drummer for 19 years is, not so true, because six years old I was just starting, and I really started playing shows when I was in high school. I had my own band, and we were touring a little bit and released an album and all that. So I guess, yeah, since high school, when I was 16, that's where things really started to pick up, and I started to get paid for actually playing music, which was amazing. So yeah, that's what it is.
Anything from like the expansion side, or anything in particular, like drumming itself, like sorry, I'm going off track trying to
No
think
worries,
of
no worries.
other questions. Yeah. So what bands have you associated with before the Living Tombstone?
So there's one specific band where I've been playing with them for about 2.5 years now. The band is called Rini, and it's kind of a mix of Indian music and electronica, and also fusion and rock. It's a super cool mix of all this, and yeah, we've been playing for a while together. Played around the U.S., but we also even toured. We went to India, which was a life-changing experience. So that's one of the bands that I've been playing with for a while. There's many other bands. I'm playing with a pop singer that's based in New Jersey called Neil. I'm playing with a Malaysian guitar player who lives in Brooklyn, called Alif Hamdan. Amazing stuff. Like he has an album out, instrumental, fusion, jazz, rock, a bunch of things together. And then, in the past, I've played with a lot of different acts. I played with a pop singer. She's Lebanese. She lives in LA now, called Maïsa Kara. I played with an off-Broadway show called Burn All Night in Boston. I played with an amazing Armenian piano player called Tigran Amasyan, which I recommend everybody to check him out. He's actually amazing. And yeah, a bunch of other things. Way before that, as I mentioned before, when I was in high school, I had a band called Arteries Shaking, which was a punk rock band, and we released an album, toured France. Like it was super cool. So yeah, a bunch of different genres, bunch of different styles. But currently, really, the two main things that I have besides Tombstone is Rini and Alif Hamdan. That's the two main bands currently that I play with.
Awesome. I'll definitely check it out when we're done with this interview, because it seems
100%.
100%. It seems really interesting. This is not one of the written questions, but you are based out of France, correct?
Well, yeah, I was born there, and I moved to the U.S. 6 years ago. I moved to go to Berklee College of Music to attend there, and I've been in the U.S. since. But yeah, I was born in France, born and raised in a small town called Chambéry. Probably never heard of it because it's super small, but it's in the southeast, close to the Alps. It's a beautiful place.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. That sounds really great. All
Yeah.
right. So, what are your current drummer goals right now? You can probably go back to the past, present, or future, but what are your current drummer goals as of right now?
Um, Goals, I mean, definitely just keep pushing, keep getting better. It's an endless journey, as you know yourself. Every drummer knows that there's always something that you can do better, that you can get better at. So I'm just keep pushing and really trying to define my own sound, because now I'm getting to that stage where, you know, not only I want to play interesting things, but I want to play them and that people hear my touch in that. So
Hmm.
so I'm really working on that. And yeah, now I came to a point where I'm really kind of trying to develop systems of practice that will make me sound like myself. So just like ways I'll play stuff or practice stuff that will change the way I approach it later on when I'm playing a gig or when I'm playing with people. So I'm working on on these kind of different ways, different mindsets of how to practice, because I really realized after all these years of spending sometimes back when I was at Berkeley 4, 5, 6, 7 hours a day practicing,
Hmm.
it really became clear to me that it's not really the amount of practice, but the way you practice that's going to really matter in the end, right?
Yes, correct.
Because practicing, you can be really good at practicing, but that won't make you being a good drummer. It'll
Hmm.
just make you being a good drummer by yourself, which is kind of not what we're looking for. If you then play live or you play with people. So yeah, that's kind of my current goals. That's what's going on. Is I'm really trying to just shift my mindset when I'm approaching a new challenge on the drums, when I'm learning new songs, just approaching it in different ways. And I'm actually developing a series of lessons that I'm first going through myself to see if it works, and then I probably release that on my website in maybe a month or two. Where right now I'm focusing on practicing on time, because you can never practice enough on your timing as a drummer, because
Yeah, kind
that's
of.
the baseline, right?
Yeah.
That's the baseline. So I'm really working on that, and then coming up with new ways to approach that. So that's what I'm working on, and I'm definitely intending to make that available. That method that I'm developing, I'm gonna have it up on my website whenever it's done, but it's in progress right now.
Absolutely, and I really do thank you for sending one of the drum rudiments that I still have, and I'm still practicing it. The egg scramble.
Yeah.
That is
Nice.
so much fun.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that are kind of stuff that's unexplored in the drums, and it's kind of cool. I'm also digging a lot into like all these odd meters or odd rudiments that
Hmm.
they're basically never used by people. People usually stick on the paradiddles, double singles, but
Yeah.
there's some interesting stuff that if practiced the right way, can become useful in real life playing situations. So yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying it, man. I have plenty more, so I'll send you more if you want.
Absolutely, yeah, I love doing it. And the thing is like whenever I get and you probably done this as well, is every time when I get a rudiment part, I kind of like take it slow and then I slowly like work up. I'm still at like the medium, uh, not like the normal tempo. I'm still at like the medium slow tempo of the egg scramble, so I'm getting there. But
Mm-hmm.
it's good hand practice, and I find it really a really good exercise.
100%. Yeah. You definitely. It's a good idea to practice slow, because that's one of the other things that I realized is, you know, in the practice room, nobody's watching you, so sometimes you just want to crank it up. You want to practice fast, and you want to, get results fast. But in the end, what happens is you practice at failing at what you're trying to do,
Yes.
because you keep repeating something that kind of sounds right, but it's kind of not right. But it's okay because no one is watching. But eventually, by repeating this over and over, you just practice failing at that thing, which what you were saying is way better. Start slow, master it slow, and just bump up the tempo when it's right, but only when it's the right moment to do it.
Absolutely. Really loved your answers there. Okay,
Hmm.
so what gear do you use for your performances or daily routine of practice?
Well, so for gear, we talked about it a little bit already before we went online, but
Yeah.
as far as cymbals, I really love Zildjian. I've played zildjian cymbals since I was a kid, and I happen to have some kind of a relationship with them because back when I was at Berkeley, they used to do these things. They were giving out scholarships to some students, and Zildjian had a scholarship that they were giving out to students, and I got one of their scholarships, and they were super cool because not only they helped me to fund my studies, but then they invited, I think it was 5 or 6 students who got one of the Zildjian scholarships to go to the factory, because the factory, actually, for people who don't know, it's right near Boston. It's in Massachusetts, and it was the best day of my life almost, because we get there and we see how the cymbals are made, and the guy explained everything to us, and then we're about to leave. We thought it was over, but it was already amazing. And the guy was like, "Hey, so now you can just pick and choose 2 cymbals of your choice, whatever you want, and it's free of charge. It's for you to enjoy." And it was just beautiful. Like, it was such a nice gesture from the people at Zildjian
Wow.
to let us do that. And through this, I kept in touch with them and went back again on my own and got to try more stuff. So yeah, Zildjian cymbals, really love them. Really love what they have, and love the quality too. So that's what I use for cymbals. For drumsticks, as we were saying earlier, Vic Firth is usually what I play. I try, and I try many other brands. Sometimes I play Vader. Sometimes right now I have a pair of I forget, like IP, innovative percussion.
Innovative percussion, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I use these days. But I always kind of come back to Vic Firth. And I like the 7As for soft stuff and 55A for like all the rest that's a little more intense.
Absolutely. What about for drums as well, like the drum shells and the
Uh-huh.
equipment?
Right. So drum sets. I'm using Yamaha drums right now. I have a kit that I kind of use for every gig that I have around here. And Yamaha drums are great. I love their
Hmm.
hardware. It's very durable, so I appreciate that. But yes, other brands that I've played on that I don't own, but I appreciated those brands is Canopus. I don't know if you know Canopus. They're
Canopus. I don't know that one.
Yeah, no, it's kind of a very niche brand, and I forget where they're from, where that company is from, but it's super nice drums, very nice for jazz stuff or more improvised music. Definitely on the softer side of things, but I really love the feel of those drums. And then what else did I used to own a Tama. Uh, what was the series that I had? I forget. Star Classic something. But it
Yeah.
was a beautiful drums, and I played a lot on that, toured a lot with that. But it was back in France. I actually just sold it because I don't use it anymore.
Okay.
Um, but so yeah, Tama is also super cool, and I also like old school drums like Ludwig. That's
Oh
kind
yeah.
of especially snares. Yeah, that's kind of my weak point. I love those, but it's expensive. Oof, it
Yeah.
is expensive.
Yeah, you ever seen those Ringo Starr drum sets? They're like $2,000. Rest in peace, my
Or
wallet.
Oh yeah, or they go higher than that sometimes, man. Oof.
You ever seen that 16 or like something like Alex Van Halen's kits, like ridiculous amount of money.
Really, I mean, I believe it. It's yeah, old school stuff. Like it goes high. Can't afford that stuff.
I can't afford to. All right. So who are your drumming heroes, or who inspired you to play?
Um, as far as who inspired me to play, as I was saying earlier, I started so young that I had no idea who a drummer was or what drummer was for what band. But my parents were super great. There was always music around the house, so I was listening to Led Zeppelin, David Bowie, Metallica.
Oh yeah.
What else? All these bands. And so that's kind of how I got introduced to drumming. But I think it's fair to say that my first drum hero was Gavin Harrison from
Gavin
Porcupine
Harrison
Tree.
from Porcupine Tree. Yes.
Yeah, man, what a beautiful drummer! Like everything he does is just amazing. And I
Oh.
remember like he was probably the first guy that I transcribed, and They have this one live album or DVD. Back then it was a DVD. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
They have a DVD of a show. It's called Arriving Somewhere But Not Here, and I must have watched that live show. I don't know how many times, 10, 15 times. And yeah, Gavin Harrison was definitely the first guy that I was really, really into as a drummer. And and after that, I think the next guy that comes to mind was Nate Wood. I don't know if you know Nate Wood. He's a New York-based drummer, and just he's on another planet. That guy's not only as a drummer because he also plays bass and keys and he sings and guitar and he's a mastering engineer. And yeah, to me, he's kind of the future of music right now. Just
Okay.
himself, like he's really innovative and yeah, he's just on another level. So I really, really transcribed a lot of him. He played with that piano player I mentioned earlier, Tigran Hamasyan. So that's another big influence in my playing. And then there's a lot, like it'd be too long to list all of them, but there's another New York-based drummer called Marcus Gilmore, who same thing. That guy is also, I don't think anybody's on his level right now. Like he's a young guy. He's probably 30 years old, something like that, and he's just amazing. So that's another big influence. Someone I look up to, and then guys like Matt Gardska, very impressive guy. Larner Lewis, Thomas Pridgeon, all these guys. I've listened to them, transcribed them. I'm very impressed by them. So yeah, that's the few names that come to mind.
You know what? A few names that come to mind for me when talking about drummers is
Uh-huh.
like in my household, I've grew up with music from Rush, Dream Theater, The Police, U2,
Nice.
and it was stuff my mom and dad really like, and especially what is it, Tower of Power, like, and Frank
Nice.
Zappa,
Yeah.
Baltimore guy, Frank Zappa, can't go wrong with that. But yeah,
Right.
my three drum heroes are Mike Portnoy, Neil Peart, and Stuart Copeland.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's some good ones too, for sure, for sure.
Absolutely. It was so devastating to see Neil Peart gone from us. It was the most heart wrenching moment for all drummers, honestly.
Yeah. Tough stuff, man. Yeah.
Yeah,
He was definitely gone too soon, for sure, for sure.
definitely. Okay, so now we get into the other question. So the album itself, Zeroone from the Living Tombstone, features a lot of dynamic playing, like Gavin Harrison, as you said, from styles from funk, rock, heavy alternative, and disco. So what was your creative aspect going into writing Zeroone?
Well, yeah, I mean, it was kind of super easy, or the way it happened was that Yoav, the composer for Living Tombstone, he's such a great guy. He has such a great musical uh, instinct that he had already written down a bunch of drum parts for all the songs as ideas, and it was easy for me to kind of take those in and add my own touch to it because it makes so much sense musically that it was not so hard. It happens that when you work with artists and they have an idea for drum parts and sometimes I just cannot relate and it's very hard. But for Living Tombstone, everything made sense. Everything was super cool and what I just did was kind of taking Yoav's ideas and kind of translate them to the drummer's world of what it would sound good as. And yeah, one big thing that I remember really being adamant about was to really try to match my grooves with the killing bass lines that Yoav wrote because that's his signature, like those super heavy bass lines that he writes. So I really wanted to line up my bass drum kicks with whatever kicks there were in the bass line. And it was a super fun process because the bass player for the album is my super good friend Guy Bernfeld, and he's an amazing bass player. We've been playing
Yeah.
together for 4 years, and so yeah, that was a big part of the creative process for the drums. It was to really make sure that when things needed to sound super heavy, we needed to really link up that bass and bass drum, together. So that was a part of it. And then other things that I love doing is, trying to look at the lyrics, and Sam is doing a wonderful job with all the lyrics, and especially when the rap parts are happening, it's also super cool. So I definitely made sure to outline some of those, and just try to carry basically the lyrics, the vocals, because that's a big part of what drummers are supposed to do, is you know trying to support the band and the singer. So yeah, that's kind of what I had in mind going into it, is really making it sound as heavy as possible when it's needed,
Hmm.
and then adding my touch, adding things, making things interesting, while keeping in mind that I want to support Sam's vocals and stay true to Yoav's idea of how it should sound. So it was super fun. It was super cool to kind of bouncing around between all these universes, and just make it happen like that.
Absolutely. There are a couple topics I actually want to get to because I know Yoav has talked to me about this. There is two things about there's two songs that's very interesting. The song "Animals." Apparently, I found out from Sam and Yoav that there is a Morse code for the drumming. HIE is the Morse code for one of the songs, "Animals." I'm trying to get an explanation. What that means in drumming terms, because that's what I've been asked about, but I would see if you have your input on it.
So it's funny you mentioned that, because I remember being in the studio, and them talking to me about this, that this was kind of a Easter egg that they added to the song. But I actually never I didn't know about this when I played the song and practiced the song, and kind of made the drum part. I was not aware, but I just again followed Yoav's cues, and kind of seen what made sense, and what rhythmically was needed for the song. And it just happened that they had included that kind of Morse code thing. And I actually don't remember what it meant, or what was the whole thing behind it. But that's again a proof that Yoav is a master at making music and adding cool things into the music,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not a gimmick. It's not a thing that is just there because it's funny. It's actually musically cool, and it's dope. It's funny at the same time. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, I can't really give you a straight answer on that. I have to ask them again, because I just remember them mentioning this in the studio in passing, and I was like, wow, this is kind of cool. Probably after I finished recording the parts, and we were talking about the song. But yeah, I cannot help you with that.
It's okay. The song "Zeroone" apparently has time signature changes in the beginning. Do you know the time signatures changes in "Zeroone"?
Well, I'd better know it, right? Because otherwise, that's a problem.
Yeah.
I do know all the time signature changes, and actually, it's probably a good time to bring this up. I'm gonna record a drum playthrough and drum explanation of that very song of Zero On. The studio session, I think, is on this Saturday, or this Friday. So this should be coming out soon, and these kind of answers will be in the video. But I can, we can talk about it right now too.
Yeah.
Basically, there's a few things that happen in that song. A super crazy song, by the way, really an interesting one, which for the story, we actually spent a lot of time on that song, because we kind of I had ideas for the song, grooves that I wanted to record so that they could play with them if they needed it, and we just took a long time kind of trying to figure out, oh, we could do this, and then we could do this, and eventually we left the studio with a lot of different things that were recorded and not necessarily pieced together yet. And when the whole thing, the final song came out, it was just kind of, it blew my mind, because I was like, wow, they really worked with, all the stuff that I recorded and other things they added on top of it. And, again, props to Yoav and the producer Machine. We did a fantastic job. But coming back to time signatures, I digress. Time signature. It starts, the very intro, the very beginning is in four, but
Mm-hmm.
there's no drums at this point. It's just some kind of pads and weird vocals.
Yeah.
Then drums come in, and that's in seven. All right. To be very precise, it would be in 7/8, and we play there's a bass kind of a bass line that goes on that is in 7, and the way you could break it down would be like this: 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3. That's the pattern that's played. Obviously, it's at a faster pace, but that's what it is. And then this section ends, and we end back in 4/4, so regular kind of time signature,
Mm-hmm.
which stays like that for a while, and then we get back again to 7/8. So we jump between 7/8 to 4/4 and to 7/8 again. We get back to 4/4 for a bit, and then at some point there's some 7/4 happening. So it's a different version of a 7, a little longer, uh, a little more spaced out. So that happens, and then we get back again to 4/4 for a while, and towards the end of the song there's even a polyrhythm happening of 3/4 on top of 4/4. So it's a lot of things. It's kind of a lot of things happening at the same time. However, again, I'm gonna record a video, a playthrough, as well as an explanation video where I really kind of explain all those parts and show how I play them. And there's even a project of a drum book for the album, because I have all the charts. Yeah, I have all the charts of all the songs, and we're talking about maybe putting it together as a drum book, so that if drummers are interested to really dive deep down into how the parts are made and everything, that would be a possibility. So yeah, if you get more questions about this, I'll be happy to share with you that chart. So you can
Absolutely.
check it
And
out.
doing the covers on my channel, it seems like I tried to recreate your drum parts, but I kind of felt like I should have gone back to the studio footage and should have done it correctly, but this was all based on ear. So
Mm-hmm.
it could
Well, which is cool, man. It's really cool. Like, there's no right thing or wrong thing. It's your take on it, and I dig it, man. I like that you're doing covers like that. You should definitely keep going and do the whole album, Just if you feel like it, that's fun, man. That it sounded good, and yeah, some stuff was different than what I played, but you know, everything is the right answer. If it feels good, it's
yeah,
good.
it feels great because you see a lot of drummers try to imitate it, and it comes down to, oh, this is absolutely adorable. Like, I've watched a couple drummers try to imitate you from the song Zeroone, and I kept on watching it. And I was just like, wow, this is so cute and adorable. This is great.
Nice, nice.
So, we already went through that. Oh, one more thing before we go into the next question. The solo in Chosen, absolutely ballers. It was
Nice, nice.
amazing. Oh,
Yeah, it was fun. Definitely, that was one of the songs where, you know, it just felt like the subject, the topic of the song, and the music behind it was just so intense that I really tried to replicate that on the drums and add to it. And yeah, there's definitely some solo like uh, drum stuff happening there. but but yeah, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you noticing all that. That's cool, man.
absolutely. Hopefully, you'll make Modern Drummer magazine. Cross fingers.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I cross my fingers too, man. I would love that. I would love that.
Absolutely. All right, this will be our last question of the pre-written questions, and then we'll go
Hmm.
to the forum that you guys have sent questions to. So this is the last question. So this pandemic has ruined the entire music industry temporarily, but
Hmm.
because we don't know when bands will perform, including both of us. So do you see yourself touring with the Living Tombstone in 2022 or earlier?
So, I mean, very tough question to answer. Obviously, we don't really know anything, and hopefully things are gonna pick back up soon. Uh, there are definitely, talks about touring in 2021,
All right.
if it's possible. That would be, it seems what we would all love to do, but we really can't know. And
All right.
the Living Tombstone is such a big thing. It's a huge band now that things need proper planning.
Mm-hmm.
So things will take time for sure, because I think if we go live and it's finally time to do all that, uh, you have all the guys from Living Tombstone. We want to do it right. So, we'll definitely be having costumes. We will be having a nice show, and that takes preparation. So it's very hard to say when we will actually be touring. But yeah, last time we talked about it, the bottom line was there'll be no tours until 2021. So we have to wait and
Mm-hmm.
see how it is then to kind of know what's the next move. But hopefully 2021. I mean, I'm as excited as you, dude. I just want to tour and play that music live.
Have you ever, like for touring, what are you like your, I don't know if I wrote this question down, but what are you like your dream places to play? I'm pretty sure you have a bucket list of places you really want to play at.
I mean, honestly, I just want to play everywhere, to be completely honest. But I've toured in China. I've toured in India twice. I went to the UAE recently. I played with Steve Vai actually in the UAE in Abu Dhabi. That was the last gig
Awesome.
before. Yeah, it was the last gig before the pandemic started. What a last gig! What a very very nice gig to end this with. So yeah, I've toured there. I've toured the U.S. a bunch. I've toured Europe a little bit. France definitely. Um, yeah, man. There are no really places that I want to go to specifically, but I would love to go to Africa at some point. I don't know if
Oh.
Tombstone would be a band to bring me there specifically, but any other band, I just want to go there. Latin America, I've never been, so I would love to tour there.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no specific place. I just really am in love with traveling through music. It's been the most exciting thing for me as a professional musician, is just going to a place I've never been with people who have a culture that I don't understand, and I just have to learn, and it's amazing. It's just every day you wake up and there's some new stuff thrown at you, and that's the most beautiful thing with music. So hopefully, you know, touring starts again soon, and I can
Absolutely.
I, I can get back to doing that.
I know Sam and Yoav mentioned Magfest, which is something that's very close to the Maryland area. So that's one other place both of them mentioned, because I know
Hmm.
I did volunteer there for audio engineering. It's a great place to play, and it's music and gaming friendly, and
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure Yoav has a lot of interest in that.
Right, definitely. Well, yeah, I don't think they can even plan at this point. I hope
Yeah.
they do. I'm not aware of it as of now, but if it happens, that would be amazing to play there for sure.
That
Yeah,
would
yeah,
be
yeah.
a miracle. All right, so we are going to get to the fan questions. I've written them down out of the best questions. Okay, so
Nice, nice.
we are going to start with we're going to start with our first one. How someone said, "How did you collab with the Living Tombstone?"
So the way it happened was through the bass player, so Guy Bernfeld, um, because he knows Yoav from way back, and he introduced me to Yoav, because Yoav was looking for an actual drummer for the album. He didn't want to have programmed drums like he does for most of his older stuff.
Hmm.
And so yeah, it's through the bass player of the on the album that I met Yoav, and I'm super grateful for that. So yeah, I actually lived in New York for a while. I didn't know that Yoav lived in New York as well at that time, and then we got introduced like that.
Awesome, awesome. Um, someone said, "Why do you play drums, nerd?"
Well, yeah, I don't even know, man. Like, as I told you, I was 6 years old, and I told my parents I want to play drums. I don't even know why, but it just happened. So it is definitely a nerdy thing, man. I spend hours and hours on polyrhythms and counting subdivisions. So yeah, I just love it, man. It's just fun. That's it.
All right, so question from Whirlwind Studios. What's up, Whirlwind? Uh, he said, I found out about your drumming through Drummer Shy, and I noticed you have a catalog of musician slash gigs you worked with, from indie jazz to Living Tombstone and even C5, which we mentioned on the program. My question is, what has been your biggest career highlight as a gigging and recording drummer you achieved so far?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I kind of mentioned it in passing already, but definitely as far as gigging, playing with Steve Vai was an insane experience, and the guy is such a nice, humble person, even though he's a rock star. So it was kind of
Yeah.
amazing to meet with him and get to play a few songs with him. So that's definitely part of the highlights. Another one would be that piano player that I keep mentioning, Tigran Hamasyan. Again, I recommend everybody to go check him out. I did play a gig with him, and it was in Boston, and that was definitely a highlight. Such an amazing thing, because that was kind of my bucket list thing, to play with that guy, because I had listened to him for so long, and so yeah, that was definitely a highlight. And then honestly, every touring experience, because again, as I was saying before, touring is just such a beautiful way to kind of discover the world and meet people. So every time I got to go on a plane and go to a place I've never been to, that was a highlight in itself.
Awesome. All right. Well, next question is, what was yeah what was the first song you ever worked on in the Zeroone album?
The first song was "What I Want." That's how I got introduced to the music of Yoav, actually, because I did not. I probably had seen a few videos, but I did not know a lot about Yoav and Tombstone. And then my friend Guy again was like, "Hey, check this out. This is a project that you might be interested in working on. We're gonna record an album. Check this song out." And it was the riff of What I Want, the first riff. And I just listened to this, and I'm like, wait, what is this? This is amazing. so, so that's the first song I heard, the first song I started working on, and what a great song to start with. You know what I mean? Like it's just one of the most banger riff ever. It's the
Banger
best.
riff.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So I'm gonna scroll down to the questions. 7, 8, 9. What would okay? So what was your favorite song to make on Zeroone?
Um, I mean, I honestly loved all of the songs, because they're all special in their own way. But I definitely loved, again, What I Want was super fun to record and play. But I just love Sunburn. Sunburn is one song that just stays in my head forever after I listen to it, but I'm not mad about it, because there's always songs that they stay stuck in your head, and you kind of you get tired of it. But Sunburn every time just kind of gives me a nice feeling, and yeah, I really love Sunburn. What else? What other song? I mean, you asked just for one, but see, I love them so much. I love all the songs so much that I have several. Chosen was fun too. I really love Chosen. Um, but then, yeah, all the other was Drunk was super cool. Um, Longtime Friends is a good one too. Yeah, they're all special in their own way. But if I had to choose one or two, I would say What I Want and Sunburn.
Absolutely, yeah. Sunburn and Chosen were actually one of my favorites because it brought so much, and it brought out so much presentation. It was just like, this is perfect for radio.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so we're going to talk about the characters. Somebody mentioned this in the questions, but there's a thing called tombstones that the
Uh-huh.
Living Tombstone has made, and the Tombstone fans are asking, as you probably know, the band of Tombstones is a new and great addition to the Living Tombstones world, and I was wondering, does the drummer in the fictional band Doc, represent you in any way?
So yeah, I mean, it's a funny thing, because there are actually a few similarities between whatever Doc's personality is and what could be something resembling me, because if you I don't know if you guys have, had the chance to check the comic book, but there is a story behind Doc, and he he's this voodoo sorcerer kind of guy who used to be a Frenchman, which is kind of funny because I'm French, and there's this whole thing about how sometimes when he talks, he just go and speaks, dabbles in French and speaks French. So so there's definitely like a few things that kind of bring it back to who I am, but not so much. Like it's a character on his own. Like it's really not like they didn't try to base that on whoever it is, but just kind of add some funny things to it, that fit my personality. Just the fact that I'm French was a funny one. Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, do you like the hat? The hat it's wearing.
Yeah,
I thought,
absolutely, man.
oh, it reminds me of what is it? Slash from Guns N' Roses.
For sure,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, yeah, man. I know. I love it. I love the outfit. I love everything. Actually can't wait to see the outfit for live shows and wear it,
Oh
because that's
man.
that's gonna be the most fun part. So no, yeah, I love it, man. I love the look of it, and it's super cool because the jacket has cut sleeves, so it's gonna be super comfortable for me to play drums with it. That was a big thing that I was wondering, because I've played in several bands where we were wearing costumes or things, and sometimes it's actually very complicated to wear a costume and play drums the same way as when you're wearing, a t-shirt. It's hot and you're sweating and you can't move the same way. But for this, when I saw the actual costume, I was like, okay, it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna feel great to play. It looks dope, so I'm super happy about
What
it.
about the mask itself? I know you're gonna be sweating all over.
Probably, yeah. I really wonder what material is gonna be made out of. Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully, something sweatproof.
Sweatproof. I seriously hope so.
Right,
Okay.
right, right.
So, all right, I got like four more questions left until we end it. So, um, okay, let me check the questions real quick. We got a lot of responses coming in.
That's
Uh,
great. That's great.
oh, we'll do a fun question. You like Legos?
Do I like Legos? Not so much, actually. I probably played a little bit when I was a kid, but not so much. I was not a Lego kid, no, or a Lego person as a whole. I do not own Legos.
Well, I used to play with Legos all the time when I
Yeah,
was a
are
kid.
you a
So,
Lego person? Yeah,
well, I was a Lego person when I was like 10 or 14 years old.
fine.
Oh yeah, it was fun. So many creative ideas.
Nice.
Here's a good question. So how do you feel Zeroone will do in the future? Do you also and it says also, do you think the end product was good?
Interesting. So I don't know exactly what that person means by how Zero One will do in the future. Maybe in terms of, you know, sales. I don't know exactly what angle we're talking about, but as far as the final product, I think it's a masterpiece, because
Mm-hmm.
for a first album, especially, for Tombstone being exclusively, making music about things that already exist, coming up with a new product that is, completely detached from any existing universe is kind of a master move. It's very hard to do, I think, to kind of reinvent himself like that. So I think the album is, in itself, as a piece of art, is a masterpiece, because it's almost a concept album. All the songs relate to each other and they're telling a story, and it's a deep story. It's not something frivolous. It's not like, having fun at a party only. No, that's like it's some deep subjects that are being, talked about and beautifully made into music. So I think Zero On is a beautiful album, and I think it's going to do well in the future. I hope many people get to listen to it, and hopefully it even broadens the audience of Tombstone, which is already huge, right? But
Mm-hmm.
but I hope, way more people get exposed to the music, because it doesn't sound like anything else that we can hear now on the radio. It's truly a fresh sound to me at least.
He really
So
is.
so yeah, I think Zeroone is great, man. I really I think it's gonna go places.
Do
Yeah.
you think Tombstone will finally be Israeli's top premier musician? Because I've heard his conversation. I know he was in a couple documentaries saying how Israel is like not really like popular around Israeli musicians. I feel like there's a chance that he will be Israeli's top like premier musician, and
Hmm.
that's in my opinion.
I
Forgot
mean,
to ask him.
he should be. Yeah, he should be. He definitely he achieved so much. You know, he's
Mm-hmm.
been at it for what almost 10 years,
10 years, yeah.
and yeah, and you know everything he's done was in its own way was always groundbreaking and fresh and new. So yeah, he definitely needs more recognition. Especially I'm not aware of any Israeli top charts or anything like that. But yeah, he should be up there for sure, for sure.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're down to our two questions. We'll get them finished. A person says, "Love your drumming skills. How long did it take for you to get this good?"
Nice. Well, thank you for the kind words. It took a lifetime. I mean, it takes every day practicing and putting yourself in question and listening to new stuff and never giving up, always always being at it. So it's hard to say how long it took me because again, I started when I was 6. I played hundreds of concerts. I practiced thousands of hours probably. So yeah, it took a long time, but it'll take a different amount of time for everybody. It's just
Hmm.
everybody's own way of doing things. I mean, everybody has its own way of doing things, and everybody we have our own relationship to music. So whatever amount of time it took me probably take a different time for someone else, and they'll play differently anyways. So it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's just what matters is the journey. It sounds cliche to say that, but it's what it is. As long as you keep practicing and you're serious in how you study the language of drumming and music as a whole,
Hmm.
then you'll get somewhere, and it'll be a different place than I or your place. It should be that person's own place on the drums and in music. So yeah,
Absolutely.
just practicing hard. That's what it is.
Absolutely. I agree with that. All right, so we are down to the last question. How does it feel to be a part of the best band ever?
Nice. I mean, I kind of agree. It's the best band ever.
It really is.
It feels great, man. It feels super great, and I'm actually very excited. I'm almost a fan of my own band. I'm a fan of being a part of this band, but I also look at it as if I'm removed from it and just witnessing it. And yeah, it's only good things. The team is amazing. Like Orko, the guitar player, is a super cool guy. Yoav, amazing guy. Sam, amazing guy. Guy, the bass player, his name is Guy. So the bass player is also an amazing guy. So yeah, we're a super cool team. We all feel like brothers, and I'm just so excited to be part of it. Yeah, I'm waiting for the next step now. I hope we get to tour and spend more time together because I haven't seen those guys in so long now because of this whole pandemic. It's yeah, we haven't seen each other in a very long time. So I'm just super excited. I'm almost as excited as all of you guys because it's great. I agree. It's one of the best band ever that's going on currently, and yeah, man. I'm waiting to be on stage and play music for everybody.
Absolutely. And I'll be probably watching from the sidelines. I really want to meet you IRL at some point. You seem like a
Absolutely,
really
man.
good person. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, we should hang out. That would be great. That would be great.
Oh, awesome. All right, so that is it for the interview portion. Well, a lot of people still watching this. Thank you so much for coming by. It was really special. It came on a day when the album got released and I had to do this interview. Maxime, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate all your words of wisdom and kind gestures. It was a great time. I really enjoyed it.
Same here, man. I enjoyed it. I'm glad we met because we talked for a while before that, and now we're seeing each other. And yeah, I'm super glad. I'm glad that people were listening. Thank you for having me on. And then yeah, we should meet again. We should do it again.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. And make sure to check out Tombstone's new album, Zeroone. It's out on Spotify, Apple, not Google Play Music, but YouTube Music. Definitely check it out. It's a great album. Definitely recommend it. All right, that's gonna do it. You all have a great night, and check you later on the outside.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.